Right. Filming. There we go. Right. Thank you very much, Glen Matlock, for coming in today to the World's End shop to do yeah, we've got the camera working now. Sorry, you were sort of waiting a little bit before. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much for coming in today.
Yeah, it's always good to come back in here after all those years.
How long has it been then?
Well, I was in here maybe a few years ago, but I mean, I first started here in 74.
Because I've got
73 maybe.
I've got some old photographs of you in the shop. Yeah, there's some in existence. So sorry, I'm interrupting.
That's all right. No, it was originally. Well, we always called it Later Rock, but the sign said too fast to live, too young to die outside, and it was a Teddy Boy shop. And I remember walking in one day, I'd heard about this shop that sold brothel creepers, and I got off the number 11 bus outside Granny Takes a Trip and went in there, and I thought, no, this ain't it. And then I came in here, and I just dug it. It was like my gran's front room. They had even before the jukebox, they had a radiogram, like all 50s wallpaper and stuff.
Yeah, right.
And there was some bloke with long hair here. And I was just hanging around. I had hardly any money on me. I mean, I was only about 15. And I used to work at Whiteley's when it was a department store.
Right, where? Right, in Queensway.
You know, it's a mall now. But and I'd made an almighty cock up, and I knew if I went back the next week, I'd be full of high jump. So the bloke I had to keep talking to sort of stay hanging in there. And I said, "Oh, do you need anybody to work here?" And he said, "Well, as it happens, I'm leaving." He said, "Why don't you call this bloke up, Malcolm?" He gave me Malcolm's number, and I called him up.
So who was the guy with the long hair?
I don't know, that was the only time I ever met him.
Right.
There was a bloke who used to knock around with Malcolm called Jerry, but he weren't him, but he looked like him.
Right, Jerry Goldstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, I remember him.
Book dealer, amongst other things. He was a nice bloke, but had a few problems.
A few problems.
But yeah. So I started working here just on a Saturday, and it was, I mean, it was all loads of old Teds coming in, but it also seemed to attract every weirdo and oddball who would cruise between here and Acme Attractions, although I don't think Acme Attractions was even open then.
So what were the shops like round here? Yeah, sorry.
There was a really good hamburger hot dog place called The Trough. Couple of doors along, you know, when you turn left there and it just, you know, the pub, the Roebuck's not there anymore. There was the Working Men's Cafe, which is the Chelsea bun now, isn't it? But where all the buses used to pull up.
Okay, round the corner.
Yeah. There was Granny Takes a Trip down the road. There was both at Market. Yeah, I didn't really kind of explore the King's Road because I weren't from round here. So I just sort of got this far and hadn't really got that far, you know. Okay. Well, that's the part that everyone else goes to now. This part really is the World's End, and no one comes down there anymore. It was kind of like that then.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It was the wrong end of the King's Road.
Yeah, but there was the hip end, right? I mean, this is where Granny Takes a Trip was, and all these other shops. Apparently,
and there was a place, Johnny Mopes, I think, or maybe that was a bit later.
Yeah.
But you still people. I mean, in the time I was here, you had people like be Brian Farron and Anthony Price swanning up and down. And,
did they come in while you were working? This is when you were here?
I remember, yeah. Well, look at Reginald Bosanquet.
I know his name, I can't think.
He used to be a newscaster on ITN, I think.
Right, yeah.
He had this was a little bit later, he had the Oxford Jordan who worked here, and he always used to come in and kind of leer after her a little bit, just stick his head round the door. Right.
Did you used to work with Jordan yourself?
Some of the time, yeah. I mean, originally I just worked on Saturdays, and then I got the Chrissy Young worked here, and something happened, and I got her job. I mean, it was a job more than anything else.
Okay.
But that was when it became sex, and I helped make the sign that was outside.
Right, the pink vinyl one.
Pink kind of Rauschenberg thing it was supposed to be, but we didn't have enough foam to stuff it properly. That was that. I remember making doing a display with Malcolm, and we made like kind of waste paper baskets out of chicken wire, and hung all the sort of 50s kind of shoes off it, you know, like the mules. And,
okay, so sort of display.
Yeah. And then the
display.
next bit come back, there was a cup sitting on the desk used to be there.
A what?
A cup, you know, like a wall cup. I said, what's that
right.
for? And he said, it's for the Windows display. I said, what? The one we did last week? And he said, no, the one that I did. And I went, get out of here. So I had a little ruck
Typical
about
Malcolm.
that. And then he used to have a clipboard there with, it's just on the door when he came in. He got a pinboard with postcards that his mate had sent him. The guy who wrote that book, what's his name? 99% is shit.
Fred Vermerell.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it would be things like, Malcolm, do the doors of art school open onto the King's Road? I think not, Fred.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and all kind of little cryptic things like that.
What they call a situationalist slogan.
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of good times, but I met some good friends through here, all people who kind of went on to do something of some kind of consequence in the music world, you know,
so
art world and the fashion world.
Quite a social sort of mixing pot in the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I met Steve and Paul and Wally.
Did you meet them first of all here?
I mean, they used to come in.
You didn't know them before. You met them.
They'd come in sort of semi-regularly, and it was almost my job to stop them. Me to stop them nicking things.
Nicking, yeah,
basically.
right.
And they was always trying to chat up Malcolm. They had this fledgling band. It wasn't the Sex Pistols back then. I think they was called the Swankers or Strand. And they was always trying to get Malcolm involved somehow. And,
and I remember
Malcolm used to humour them, and I remember him saying, "Yeah, how's it going, lads?" And Paul said, "Oh, I don't know. We're trying to take it seriously, but the bass player never turns up." And the bass player was Paul's, I think it was his sister's fiance, Dell.
Right.
And I was standing there, and I went, "Oh, I play bass." And they went, "Who's your favourite band?" And I said, "The Faces." And they went, "Right, ours too." And then we had a little play, and that was it. Not here, we went round Willie's house.
Okay. I remember there was some warehouse or something or other I went to see you all play at, rehearsing in Shepherd's Bush or somewhere like that.
Oh, yeah, well, we had Hammersmith
with
Studios.
a guy called Wally that was singing.
We had what's now Riverside Studios. Wally's dad was an electrician, and he got the contract from Hammersmith Council to strip out what wasn't worth keeping and then what was worth keeping. And we got a set of keys cut. And, we rehearsed there. It had purportedly the best sound dubbing room in Europe. It went back to the 30s. We sort of started as we meant to go on, with the high end stuff.
So that's pretty good. So so sounds like a sort of bank job where different people had different attributes.
Yeah. But then there'd be all other people coming in. I was here one day and it was in the week and the door opened and it was Ian Hunter and Mick Ronson came in.
Who and Mick Ronson?
Ian Hunter.
Ian Hunter.
From the Hoopool and
right. Okay.
And Mick wanted a pair of. I got matey with Mick Ronson afterwards. He produced my band, the Riches, and he wanted a pair of pink sort of 50s loafers, and they was all in the corner up there, all stacked up.
Right. Yeah.
He had really small feet, and I'm up the ladder getting all these things down. And finally found a pair of 6s or 6.5s, which he bought. And he went, "I bet you're really pissed off at me." And I said, "Why?" And he's, it's like Mick Ronson. And I said, "Why?" He said, "I've got all this stuff down." And I said, "That's all right, I'll put it back." Next thing, he's up the ladder putting all the boxes back. And they actually wore those shoes in that movie, Ronaldo and Clara, it's a Bob Dylan movie.
Right, I didn't see it myself.
Ronson's trying to, it's 4 hours long and it's not great. But he wears the
4
shoes.
hours long, okay.
He's pretending to be a security guard, but it's in black and white and you can't see.
So, how long did you stay working there for? I mean,
a couple of years.
Right, okay. And how long were the Sex Pistols and you working there overlapping sort of thing?
About a year and a half maybe.
Okay,
but, I mean, we was doing a band before it was the Sex Pistols.
Right.
Before Rotten was in the band.
Okay.
We was learning to play basically, and having hijinks. We actually did a tiny little gig down the road. There was a place called Salter's Cafe.
Right.
And we got up and did a few numbers, and that was when Wally was in the band.
Okay. So no one did a bootleg of that.
Was singing, but I think it was a right horrible mess.
So when did you stop working in the shop then? In 1976 or something or other?
Yeah, when I found,
when you did your first album?
No, it was before then. We started gigging. I found out that kind of driving to Liverpool But then driving back and having a skinful the night before wasn't doesn't go hand in hand with getting up at, or even 11 o'clock in the morning. We didn't have to start till 11.
Right.
So I just said, look, I can't do this anymore. I got in about 3 o'clock one day with a stonking hangover. Vivian ticked me off no end. Don't you realise it's a privilege to work? And I went, well, yes, but Malcolm was behind her going, you know, he knew that I'd had a skinful the night before and he saw the funny side of it. I said, we better find somebody else. But
so were you here when Johnny came in to this sort of moment that we always hear about, where this guy came in and started singing at the jukebox?
But he didn't just come in and start singing. We've been looking out for a singer, and we used to basically stop anybody who had short hair, because everybody had long hair back then and flares.
Right.
You know, and as long as they weren't the bald 68-year-old, short hair and short trousers, and people were not short trousers, you know, drain pipe trousers, and we were stopping a few people, and people were looking out for us, and there was a guy on our behalf, and there was a guy called Bernard Rhodes that suggested look out for this guy John. Right. So he came in originally not when I was here, but then we arranged to meet up one Saturday, and he popped in and we all went to the Roebuck, and then we come back, Malcolm opened up, then he sort of did this silly audition in front of us. So where did you find John? He was out in the street and you told him to come in here and do an audition? Bernard had seen him somewhere, but when he saw the bloke we got, he said, no, he told you to get this guy John. Right, and we said, we have got this guy called John. And he said, no, not that John, the other one, the other John was Sid. Yeah. It's amazing, that story, actually. Yeah, so, but I don't think Sid would have made a great singer for the band. Although he had his merits. But he was quite a good singer, though. You think? He was I like that song My Way. He weren't a lyricist. John's got totally something different. Right, writing songs, yeah. He was good at singing the old rock and roll song. In fact, me and him actually did a gig once as a sort of one-off thing. You and John? Like London? No, me and him did loads of gigs. Me and Sid, we did a one-off thing, the Vicious White Kids. Oh, right, yeah. So kind of that was it, but I mean, there's loads of stuff in and out, and you know, there was all these mad people coming in, and I remember a bit earlier on, I was thinking about to go to art school, and I asked Vivian, I needed somebody to be a referee, you know, give me a reference. And my doctor had done it, and I needed somebody else with some consequence, and I asked Vivian if Malcolm would do it. And I think Vivian got the possibly I didn't ask her, but I used to see Malcolm a lot more. She said, what for? And I said, well, I'm thinking of applying to going to art college. And she said, well, I don't think you want to ask Malcolm. And I said, why not? And she said he's been thrown out of every art college in London. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I got a bit more interested in Malcolm, and Malcolm got a bit more interested in me, because I was trying to go to art college, and then I went to St Martin's. Right. While I was still working here. What were you studying? What did you study? I did a foundation course, and then I later got in to do a degree in fine art painting. But in the summer holidays, we decided to take the Sex Pistols seriously. Right. So I went in and booked a gig on the first day, and then didn't go, which I kind of regretted a little bit. But there you go. So the Sex Pistols ran their course and everything. It's very big, you know, big thing that happened. And then well, that was 75 when. Yeah, 75, 76. 2 years before that. Yeah. But anyway, then you had this sort of. You went and did the Rich Kids, and you've done your own thing, and then the Sex Pistols reunited in Finsbury Park, whatever it was, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Yeah. What's happening now? How do you see the other members of the band? I saw Paul last week. We had a coffee together. We're kind of. Is he based in England now? Yeah, he lives sort of Shepherd's Bush way. Okay. Getting with Paul, getting with Steve. Although Steve's in LA. John, if I see him, we'll chat. But yeah, it's always been slightly difficult, John. But he has his moments. But I do like his quote though. He's always said that, well, the Sex Pistols aren't the best of friends, we're not the worst of enemies. So. He's very good verbally, actually, John. Yeah. He is. I must be nice to get him in here once.
to do an interview. I went to the dentist with him. So one time I met him.
Did
my
you?
mum had a spare appointment. She decided to give up her own appointment in favour of John. So I went to the dentist with Johnny Rotten. It was quite good fun.
When was that? Really early on? You must have been little then.
Yeah, I was 13 or something rather.
Because I remember you guys coming in when you were kids, and you came in once and to see Malcolm, and I think it was the school holidays or something.
Right.
And Malcolm just gave you like £5 out the till, and he said go to the zoo.
Right.
And the pair of you were outside trying to get a cab. You know, no cab's going to stop for them. I said, Malcolm, you can't do that. And he said, what do you mean? He said, they got to learn somehow. I said, they're like 8 years old. You know? So in the end, I started taking you to the cartoon cinema in Victoria a few times.
Was it you that got me to go there? Right, okay. Because I used to go there quite often actually after that. Yeah. It's full of paedophiles and
well,
tramps.
I found out afterwards that there was an undercurrent to the place.
But that was all right. There were loads of kids in there as well. I think we had the upper end actually, the kids.
But yeah, sort of weird kind of memories. But what was good about it was that there was always the total antithesis of what was going on in the King's Road, look-wise, attitude-wise, people-wise.
This shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and with the pistols, I mean, I'll go on about them because that's my main thing, but we all kind of gravitated here for similar, not exactly the same kind of reasons, but it was the hippest of the hip place to be. And I got paid for it and all.
Well done, man. So what are you up to now these days? What are you up to?
I'm still playing. I'm always doing different gigs all around the world, writing, recording, playing with different people.
You've just been in South America, haven't you?
I was in South America I got back about a month ago. I went and played at Rock in Rio and then went to Argentina. But since then I've been back. I was playing in Oslo over the weekend, doing some shows with people. Yeah, the phone rings, people say come and do this, come and do that.
Yeah.
But with what's going on at the moment, I don't know if there's going to be so many worldwide gigs going on.
Okay. Have you got a band, or is it you do a sort of solo thing? Or you sort of...
Bit of both, really. I tend to... When I went to Argentina, I played with some local guys there, and they'd like learnt all the songs that I've written over the years.
Okay.
Some famous, some not so famous, but all sort of fit together somehow.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Through you.
Yeah, that was good. I quite enjoyed doing that. The only thing with that, you've got to keep rehearsing all the bloody time. You know.
You've got to do what, sorry?
We have to rehearsing all the bloody time.
Right.
You have to do as much rehearsing for 100 gigs as for one.
Why?
Well, because you've got to learn the songs. And once you learn the songs, you might as well go and do loads. Okay. If you just got one or two in a particular place, then you go somewhere else. But see, nobody wants to bring a band out because it's too expensive, all the flights. They'd rather have just you.
Okay, so you're like starting off.
That's all right, you know, I get to go around the world and meet loads of people.
Okay. And where do you live now?
I live in London. I live in Maida Vale.
Maida Vale, okay then. Okay. Okay, Glenn, I think I'll wrap it up now.
If that covers everything.